Hello and welcome to D&D Daily. My name is Sage. Today I'm going to be doing the next race that comes from Monsters of the Multiverse, the Duergar. Duergar are dwarves whose ancestors were transformed by centuries living in the deepest places of the Underdark. That cathodic realm is saturated with strange magical energy, and over generations early Duergar absorbed traces of it. They were further altered when mind flayers and other aberrations invaded and performed horrific experiments on them. Fueled by Underdark magic, those experiments left early Duergar with psionic powers which have been passed down to their descendants. In time, they liberated themselves from the aberrant tyrants and forged a new life for themselves in the Underdark and beyond. Like other dwarves, Duergar typically have a lifespan of 350 years. As a Duergar, you come with the following racial traits. You are a humanoid, and you are also considered a dwarf for any prerequisite or effect that requires you to be a dwarf. You are size medium, your walking speed is 30 feet, you have dark vision out to 120 feet, and you also come with Duergar magic. Starting at 3rd level, you can cast the Enlarge/Reduce spell on yourself with this trait, without requiring a material component. Starting at 5th level, you can also cast the Invisibility spell on yourself with this trait, without requiring a material component. Once you cast either of these spells with this trait, you can't cast that spell with it again until you finish a long rest. You can also cast these spells using spell slots you have of the appropriate level. Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma is your spellcasting ability for these spells when you cast them with this trait. You choose when you select the race. You also come with Dwarven Resilience. You have advantage on saving throws you make to avoid or end the poisoned condition on yourself. You also have resistance to poison damage. And Psionic Fortitude. You have advantage on saving throws you make to avoid or end the charmed or stunned conditions on yourself. Anytime a race has racial magic, it tends to work best with spellcasters because you have the spell slots to cast that spell multiple times. Not to say it isn't good for martials, it's just you could get more bang for your buck if you use it as a spellcaster. However, the Enlarge/Reduce is often used in martial capacity, and you can specifically cast it on yourself. So there's actually an argument for this being more of a martial-based spellcasting spell. But then there's Invisibility, which is pretty universal across the board, that both spellcasters, skill-based people, and martials are going to get the same amount out of it, because it's just generally good. Now, that being said, clerics and druids don't come with invisibility naturally, and would probably enjoy having it on their spell list, so that is a bump in that direction. The Duergar also comes with some pretty fantastic defensive buffs. The first comes in Dwarven Resilience, which gives us advantage against all forms of poison. Poison is a super common damage type, so having that strong advantage to it is going to be excellent, and resistance to the damage type as well. Super solid feature. Psionic Fortitude also gives us advantage against the charmed condition and the stunned condition. Now, the biggest thing about this is that the stunned condition is very rare to have a counter to. The stunned condition is often overlooked when it comes to immunities and so on and so forth, so having strength against the stunned condition is rare and good. And throw on the charmed condition to boot, that is also a fairly common condition to be throwing around. Where that leaves us with the Duergar is that we are flexible and that we can be a martial that goes really big. You can pair this with Rune Knight, for example, to become absolutely schmassive by combining it with its feature that already makes you bigger as well. But it also goes well with full casters by giving that invisibility to your spell list, either freeing up a spell selection for most full casters, or giving it to spellcasters who don't get access to it, again, like the cleric and the druid. Pair that with our excellent defenses, and you have a race that is well-rounded and can be used on basically any class in many situations. So the Duergar is excellent at allowing you to be the character you want to be. Now, that's as far as the mechanics go. As far as the story goes, it seems like we've stepped away from the evil Duergar, and we more have a neutral Duergar, that they can go either way, that they were once slaves, they've broken through, and they've had some psionic gifts given via that slavery. I think this is in large part just to allow us to put ethics on the character as opposed to interjecting them before we get to even build our character, which I think is a step in the right direction, allowing us more creative freedom. This has been my analysis of the new Duergar. We are D&D Daily. We release new D&D content every single day, so if that's interesting to you, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace!